So, hi, my name is Kirill. I'm a creative director and the game designer at Gripper. I'm also co-founder of Hardcore and the representative of our team, beautiful team that is from Uzbekistan right now, and Bulgaria and Latvia, Thailand, Kazakhstan, all around the world.
So, Krill, talk about where the idea for this game came about. If you don't mention Akira, I'm going to be very upset.
No, actually, Akira was one of the inspiration, but the idea behind was kind of different. When I lost my mother, it was a long time ago, like I was 20. I had an idea of somehow conveying this feeling of losing someone you love in the gameplay because I was doing game design for 20 years and it was the only language that I knew well enough to express myself. So I thought maybe we should do something very furious since the losing someone you love it's kind of sometimes it's hard and the game should be hard. Usually when you choose the genre for this kind of sensitive topics you would prefer adventure, but I always wanted something gripping, which is the actually the game mechanics, but I couldn't find the right metaphor. Uh, One day I heard this song called "Hold Your Heart" by a Russian band Kill the Barber, and I thought that maybe you could, grab, grip and rip the hearts of relatives from bosses. They would be singing, and you'd, be on a vehicle somewhere in the desert, abandoned in the collapsing world. And then later we decided to, because we start watching a movies and anime about this kind of topic, and I found that my inspiration, my childhood inspiration, Akira, was the closest one because it's very furious. It has this raging emotion, and also bike. It means the speed, and also I thought like nobody has ever done the slide mechanics in a game. There are so many quotes in the TV series about this, bike sliding down, but there was no game actually. So we thought like, okay, now we're gonna replace the vehicle that like we had this car, blue car, with the bike because the bike is something more fast-paced, and that's how Akira became another inspiration for the idea of the main character who is also he's 20-year-old. He's very energetic. He is very furious. He is very fast, and of course, you would feel something kind of similar to the classical anime movies when you watch a Gripper.
Where did the name come from? How'd you come up with the name of the title of the game? Is that the character's name or the bike's name?
Well, actually, it's a bike's name because the character is called Nan, and it's also kind of symbolical. Gripper is the kind of grappling hook that you can find if you Google Gripper. You would see that there's a special device for gripping stuff, and you might have seen Gripper in some I would say the parks around, maybe there's a ferry wheel, you can win a toy, a plush toy, and it's something connected with the childhood. But also it's a tool for the surgery, and sometimes it's even used for gripping the hearts. And I thought it could be a tool, but plus it could be a metaphor for the things we stick to, because we stick to our past. Once we lost someone, we're still thinking about this person, and we're kind of asking the advice, and we're always looking back, and well, at least I felt that way. I felt that every time I have to make a very important decision in my life, I'm asking my mother whether it's good or not. So it's kind of gripper that holds you back, and basically all the stuff you do in the game is you're gripping and ripping. And I thought that it would be cool, since the game is outrageous, and you're most of the time you're doing this very powerful moves with this gripping machine, but at the end you kind of let it go. So it's not about gripping and ripping, it's more about letting it go, and that's also a metaphor.
So talk about the gameplay. This game is like a part isometric, almost looks like a twin stick shooter combination with racing elements as well. Talk about the gameplay in your game.
Oh yeah, actually, it was kind of tough decision to blend two genres. One is more like Sayonara, Wild Hearts, and Samper, and the second one is more like a Fury. I would say that the gameplay wise, they are very inspirational titles to us. What we didn't see, what we haven't seen anywhere, is the combination of a boss fight game on wheels, and if you add grappling hook, all these tags, they make something totally unique. And what we wanted as game designers, something new experience. We didn't want you to shoot like most of the twin stick shooters. Of course, it's a genre, it's a shooter, so you have a gun and you can shoot, or you can slash with the sword or whatever stuff you have. But what if you have a grappling hook and you're on a bike? It changes everything. First of all, the way how you move. It takes momentum for you to rotate your bike, your character. And the second thing is that you don't have a gun, so you have to grab it from the boss, and you can pull it out and you can use the boss weapon against it. And it creates some really interesting gameplay situations. Some people compare it to Doom experience. Other people say it is more like No More Heroes meets Dark Souls. And of course, it's a praise for us to hear such a beautiful comparison. But I would say we are more like we wanted to create something original for the hardcore players to have this new experience, to try this new experience. And the best comment from you would be from a gamer: I have never ever played anything like that.
Talk about some design challenges you had with this game specifically when you're meshing two genres, especially since you're working so much with momentum.
Oh yeah, of course, it's kind of hard to work with physics because the physics, it's unpredictable. So most of the time you spend on trying to control the rules of the physics engine, which is built in, and you have to rewrite everything. So we had to rewrite the movement component. We try to find some examples of two wheel movement, vehicular combat, and there was nothing actually. So and it's also hard when you cannot find the direct reference. So you cannot just pick, okay, we'll do Devil May Cry approach, or we will do, Doom approach. And neither of them are working, in our case. So we had to invent our own system of movement. It's pretty, I would say, the feeling is more like arcade games, but once you start using the left stick for moving and right stick for aiming, I prefer to play on gamepad, but it's like mouse and keyboard layout. It could be also controlled in that way. You feel that there's a lot of tension because you have to, carefully plan what you're doing in the game. And on our side, developing this kind of movement and this kind of precision gripping stuff took a lot of effort and R&D. So we had to rewrite physics once again and again and again before we got the feeling that, okay, now it's interesting. Yes, it's hard. Of course, it takes time. But once you get a taste of this mechanics, like at least 10 tries, you feel the flow. And we thought that it was trying. It was trying to offer players something which is kind of different, and it of course came with the hard R&D and hard experience of rewriting a lot of stuff from scratch.
What would you say is the biggest challenge in 2023 as an indie developer? What's the biggest challenge your team faces?
I think the biggest challenge for us is that sometimes you make a game which is viral and it fits perfectly into the genre. If you look at the Steam and NextFest, we're participating with the demo, and you will see that there are lots of survival games, lots of builders, lots of a strategy, resource-oriented games, and they look quite good in this collection of Steam games. But once you get to the Gripper, it's kind of console experience. It's old school. It's more leaning towards Hi-Fi Rush, I would say. We didn't expect Hi-Fi Rush, but it showed that this type of games can be interesting to the players. They still eager to see something that gives them this feeling of classical PlayStation 2 games, PlayStation 1 games. And as a console player myself, I would love, to play something like that. And it's a pro part, and the con is that we are very, very, I would say, invisible for the players who don't want to try and experiment, and they just watch and they like see this racing part and then the boss fight part, and then what's the genre of this game? What do they want to tell me? I don't understand. So I mean, it's the only option is to talk to you and to ask you, Greg, for example, just please tell the players that it's fun, try it by yourself, and maybe someone would also try, like a streamer, and then the audience will come and also find that this is a game that could be interesting for them. It's worth trying, and that's the hardest challenge for us with Gripper.
It was funny because I got Twisted Metal 2 vibes when I saw your trailer, as well as like some F-Zero vibes and like some other genres sneaking in there. But when I was watching your trailer originally, I was like, wow, it'd be a real damn shame if he didn't do the Akira slide, and then he did it. And I'm like, aha, he did it.
Yeah.
He did do it.
Yeah, it's actually the basic movement. You can do the slide, and you can also attack with the slide. You can break things with sliding, and you can dodge bullets with sliding, and you can use it as a break when you want to rotate your character like on a spot somewhere. And yeah, and it also helps you in the battle because we have very, very different kind of bosses, and you have to carefully choose the way how you play against each boss and use the consumable packs. So there could be some interesting aspects to the physics and to the way how you use the slide in a battle. And some really, really experienced players, they do a belly. They do like when you watch it, like it's incredible the way how they play. They're real superheroes. Like.
So, Crow, last question I have for you is, when does your game come out and what platforms will it be on?
Well, we haven't yet announced the final release date, but it would be definitely very, very close. We're almost done, and we're going to the PC platforms, including Epic Game Store, Steam, GOG, and Humble Store, and we're going to Nintendo Switch. Which is for me, it's a kind of brilliant opportunity to pay respect to the all-time classic. And later on, we are planning also with the Xbox and PlayStation, but simultaneously we'll launch for PC and Switch.